Born 1946 to 1964, 78 million Americans. They led the civil rights movement, protested Vietnam, built modern corporate America, and accumulated over $15 trillion in wealth. Now aged 60 to 79 in 2026, 10,000 retire daily. Everyone assumes their influence is fading. Psychology data reveals the opposite. Here's what makes baby boomers tick and why they're not done shaping America. Forged in post-war prosperity. Baby boomers were born during an unprecedented boom. World War II ended, soldiers returned home, the economy exploded, younger marriages became common, childbirth rates skyrocketed. Between 1946 and 1964, 78 million babies were born in America. But this prosperity created paradox. More people meant more competition. Resources became scarcer. Jobs were limited. Educational opportunities weren't guaranteed. Being raised in a society with limited resources despite overall prosperity inspired a generation of competitors. They developed a work as hard as you can, then work even harder next time mindset. This environment shaped their core psychology. Scarcity breeds competition. Competition breeds work ethic. Work ethic becomes identity. The strongest work ethic. If there's one trait that defines baby boomers psychologically, it's work ethic. A 1979 Gallup survey found over 80% of boomers believed workplace loyalty led to long-term success. They prioritized organizational commitment, seeing employment as a lifelong partnership that rewarded dedication with advancement. Common workplace values associated with boomers include work-centric and workaholic tendencies, independent and self-assertive behavior, goal-oriented and career-focused mindset, competitive drive and self-actualization through professional achievement. These values suggest a generation that prioritizes efficiency and efficacy in the workplace but has little regard for work-life balance. Work tends to be the center of their lives. Many boomers measure success by professional achievements. Their work is a significant part of their identity. They pride themselves on putting in long hours, going the extra mile, seeing projects through to completion. This isn't just about clocking in and out. It's a deep-seated belief in the value of labor and the satisfaction from a job well done. According to 2026 psychology research, baby boomers are willing to sacrifice comfort for productivity. They rely on themselves instead of seeking external validation. Because they feel stable in who they are, they can tolerate discomfort and push through challenges without falling apart or needing constant reassurance. Where younger generations prioritize work-life balance from the start of their careers, boomers blur those lines. Many willingly work long hours or take work home, seeing it as necessary for career success. However, as they approach retirement, many are reassessing priorities. This shift brings them closer to younger generation expectations around flexibility and personal time. Emotional resilience and stable-mindedness. New data from Solston's ongoing assessment representing 3.4 billion people globally reveals baby boomers score remarkably high on stable-mindedness, the trait measuring emotional resilience and equilibrium under pressure. Baby boomer women score 60 and men score 61 on stable-mindedness. This is the highest of every generation, with minimal gender difference. This characteristic allows boomers to navigate contemporary social and technological disruption without the psychological reactivity often seen in younger cohorts. While digital transformation has created anxiety across society, baby boomers are steadily increasing technological adoption while maintaining perspective on which innovations actually matter. Their emotional resilience explains their continuing effectiveness in leadership roles despite rapid change. They provide stability amid transformation. Dr. Crystal Saidi, a psychologist studying generational differences, explains that boomers are naturally resilient because they've had to be. Adversity was part of everyday life growing up, so adapting became second nature. It's not about suppressing struggles or running from discomfort. It's about leaning into challenge headfirst. This ability to separate emotion from action helps them stay productive and resilient during long periods of pressure. Whether facing a straightforward project at work or personal stress in daily life, they're resourceful enough to create solutions even when it's not comfortable or convenient. Trust and loyalty. Baby boomer women score 63 and men score 58 on trust, again the highest of every generation. Boomers tend to stay loyal to the people, workplaces, and values they believe in. This loyalty isn't blind faith, it's earned through experience and maintained through consistency. For decades, they saw job stability as the norm. They expected dedication to be rewarded with advancement. Many spent entire careers with single companies, building relationships and accumulating institutional knowledge. This creates psychological patterns distinct from younger generations who've experienced layoffs, gig economies, and constant job hopping as standard. Where millennials and Gen Z approach employment transactionally, expecting to switch jobs every few years, boomers built identity around organizational commitment. This difference creates workplace friction. A boomer sees staying late as dedication. A millennial sees it as poor time management. Both perspectives are valid products of different formative experiences. Optimism and idealism. Despite growing up during tumultuous times, or perhaps because of it, baby boomers are characterized by optimism and idealism. They came of age during a period of economic prosperity and social change. This instilled a belief that anything is possible with enough effort and determination. The civil rights movement, anti-Vietnam War protests, and second-wave feminism defined their youth. Unlike earlier generations, boomers rejected passive acceptance. They demanded systemic change through rallies, legislation, and cultural disruption. Environmentalism found powerful advocacy in boomers. The first Earth Day in 1970 galvanized a generation into action, laying foundations for modern climate activism. Similarly, boomer-led pushback against institutional sexism and racism advanced equity reforms across education, law, and media. This history of activism created psychological patterns of agency. Boomers learned that collective action produces results, that systems can be changed, that speaking up matters. Many assume this idealism faded as they aged. Psychology data suggests otherwise. The same generation that protested Vietnam now drives philanthropy and political participation. They haven't abandoned idealism, they've refined how they pursue it. Self-reliance and independence. Considering many baby boomers led social change in early adulthood, pushing back against parents, norms, and expectations to craft their futures, independence became one of their most valuable personality traits. They learned to trust their own judgment. They don't need other people for validation or to fit in. They have strong work ethic validated by discipline and values. They're not looking to appease anyone with dependent relationships. This self-reliance is learned behavior, not inherent personality. They've been expected to handle things on their own for the majority of their adult lives. When problems arise, they're not waiting for someone to save them or resolve issues. They have the resilience and work ethic to work through things independently, even when uncomfortable or inconvenient. This creates generational conflict around asking for help. Younger generations see collaboration and support seeking as strengths. Boomers often view it as weakness or dependency. Neither is wrong. They're different adaptations to different environments. Goal orientation. Baby boomers focus on goals because they learned early that progress requires persistence. Comfort is often secondary to achievement. They've lived through dramatic social shifts and adversities many younger generations can't comprehend. Their goal-oriented attitude is how they make sense of the world. This mindset helps them stay motivated even when circumstances are stressful or uncertain. Where Gen Z prioritizes non-monetary incentives, frequent feedback, social exposure, and work-life fusion, reframing work as relational, meaningful, and identity-congruent practice, boomers view work more transactionally. Work is duty, goals are measurable, success is objective. According to 2025 research on Industry 5.0 and generational motivation, this represents fundamental differences in how generations conceptualize labor itself. The hippie paradox. Not all boomers fit the work ethic stereotype. During the 1960s and 70s, large groups of young boomers became hippies, countercultural iconoclasts who rejected traditional work ethics entirely. Male hippies wore long hair and grew beards. Female hippies eschewed makeup and bras. They preferred love to money, feelings to facts, natural things to manufactured items. They engaged in casual sex, used hallucinogens, were generally pacifists and pessimists. Many disliked politics and activism despite being influenced by the political atmosphere. The Woodstock Festival in August 1969 drew huge crowds despite bad weather and lack of facilities. This segment of boomers sought refuge from the modern world in communes and mystical religions. Here's the paradox. Both the workaholic boomer and the hippie boomer emerged from the same generation during the same period. This reveals something crucial about generational psychology. We generalize for pattern recognition, but individual variation within generations often exceeds variation between them. The boomer who became a corporate executive and the boomer who lived in a commune share birth years but little else psychologically. Wealth transfer and continuing influence. Despite pressures and changing times, boomers remain pivotal in generational wealth transfer. Their net worth exceeds $15 trillion as of 2025. Over $30 trillion in wealth transfer is currently underway, guiding estate planning, philanthropy, and intergenerational economic strategy. With record-high political participation and outsized representation in leadership positions, baby boomers remain powerful architects of America's future well into the 2030s. 10,000 boomers retire every day. Media narratives position them as passing the torch, but psychology data reveals a generation whose influence is evolving rather than diminishing. They're not done shaping America, they're shifting how they shape it. Comparisons with younger generations. Understanding differences and similarities between baby boomers and other generations is crucial for navigating multi-generational society and workforces. Generation X brought more independent and entrepreneurial spirit compared to boomer loyalty to employers. Millennials prioritize work-life balance and seek meaning beyond financial rewards. Gen Z has access to every perspective through social media, creating fundamentally different psychological patterns around community, identity, and work. Common areas of intergenerational conflict include communication styles, attitudes toward technology, and expectations around work hours and flexibility. A boomer sees staying late at the office as dedication. A millennial prioritizes efficiency to leave on time for personal pursuits. Gen Z questions why the work couldn't be done remotely. These aren't character flaws, they're adaptive responses to different formative environments. Research from Johns Hopkins University explains, the environment in which individuals are raised, namely what they lack or are deprived of in childhood, strongly influences value development throughout adulthood. Boomers grew up with resource scarcity despite overall prosperity. Gen X grew up with both parents working and minimal supervision. Millennials grew up with early internet. Gen Z grew up with smartphones and social media. Each generation's psychology reflects adaptation to their unique historical moment. Baby boomers, born 1946 to 1964, score highest on stable-mindedness and trust among all generations, strongest work ethic, deep organizational loyalty, optimism despite turbulence, self-reliance learned through necessity, over 15 trillion in wealth, 10,000 retire daily but influence evolves rather than fades. They led civil rights, protested Vietnam, built corporate America. They're not done shaping the future. Understanding their psychology is understanding modern America.